Okay, people, I just wanted to remind CIA and all the other clubs out there for adults that I never forgot about you. You are always on my mind. You are always on my mind. So, as I was making a comment to a video on some news outlet, I said that this soy boy gay fuck Lindsey Graham, that he was probably a brother or cousin of Nancy Pelosi's, and that's the point. They fake beef with each other, the Republicans and the Democrats. And I was making a point that he is probably they are relatives, and this Pam Bondi character is their love child. Well, they who inbreed, they are, infertile, but they make these kids through surrogates and in vitro fertilization. Now I'm going to say to you what you are not going to hear on all these bullshit websites about narcissistic abuse and all the other analytic, psychological web pages that will explain to you how abuse is going on and why is it happening. These fucks, they torture me and my son all the time. As I imagine that there is one person who is doing what they call telekinesis, who is sending to me something like thoughts distantly through the distance that I should feel lost, and then another person that is sitting with a photo of a person that's transferring images to me into my head, to whom I should feel this lust for. That's how I imagine it works. So they also send me these suicidal thoughts all the time. And they may call it methods of telekinesis and all the other trainings and talent from Secret Service, but for me it's actually a good old black magic thing, and they practice dark arts, and that's just what they do to me. And they force me to feel this lust all the time, and they force me to feel suicidal all the time, so much so that I only want to go to the United States so that I would find the grave of my man, and I would just cut my veins on his grave and stick a knife into my belly and say, "See how you hurt me," and that would be the end of it. So this is particularly painful in times when the spring comes, because when sun comes out and it is especially warm and it caresses your skin as you walk on the street, and you just remember how people look all around you. Women try to dress up, they wear these coats and trench coats, and they wear stockings because they wear heels, and they try to hurry up on a date, and they ruin it for me. And I feel like all my life is a lie now, and it's like a setup for no reason at all, because honestly I didn't care about them, and I just don't want to be here, and I cannot even sleep because last time I tried to sleep, I took a day off on Friday, and they were blasting Elvis songs from some parked car in my neighborhood. It's like I am in Moscow. It's 2026, and they are blasting Elvis songs specifically for me. Thank you. I never forgot about you. Okay. That's how they punish me for one comment that I made, that this Lindsey Graham guy is probably cousin or brother of Nancy Pelosi, and Pam Bondi is their love child. In regards to what's happening in Iran now, I hope that you Americans will finally come to your senses and support your president. It was MI6, MI5 who ousted the last Shah, who was the king of Iran back in the day, long time ago. And then they established some sort of regime that is a terror regime that, under guise of some bullshit Islam sect, actually practices paganism. And that's the true meaning of the word secret mystery Babylon, because they practice something, the elites of the country, but they practice it in secret. It's in disguise, it's dressed up as something else. So this stuff is happening due to previous works of CIA MI6. And when it was time to finally admit and face the monster that they created back in the day in Iran, they also failed to organize support to Iranian people who tried to protest the government, that they wanted to stop being under that regime. CIA also set up Trump with this girls' school. They gave the army their own coordinates, and they fired the missile at their own place because CIA gave their own intelligence. They also failed to kill Zelensky because he was with this group of people who are subordinate to Vatican that organized attempt on Donald Trump's life. And now they're trying to say that it was Shah of Iran, and they feed Trump with this information. Then he knows well that it is Zelensky. Now I'm going to go through the shit that Tucker Carlson would say. First of all, my channel mainly is dedicated to archetypes, archetypical collective subconscious imaging that don't have the direct meaning, literal meaning of the words that are conveyed in the images, the tokens. So imagine that if there are angels, and there are also spirit guides that are in form of animals, like it is in the gospel, like Mark, Leo, or eagle, or Taurus, or this Virgo image that you also have in tarot. So imagine that a young boy is watching some scientific quote-unquote program by BBPC. This is disgusting British scientist, nanoscientist bullshit. And they would tell that it is a program about nature, and how nature is in the wild, and perhaps he wants to go fishing with his dad and he wants to go hunting. So he has to watch all this to be aware how all this nature and the animals and birds and all the insects in the nature work. So let's say BBC nature program tells him that bears actually they can tear into pieces and eat and kill their own bear cubs. Okay, and bear is a totem animal. For example, in Russia, bear is a totem animal of Russians, and it's also totem animal of Germans and these Austria, Switzerland things. So if you associate yourself with German blood or Russian blood, you will automatically be cautious or anxious and unsure in yourself in regards to having a family, because you will associate your spirit with this totem of a bear, and you will think that you are going to eat up your own children. That's why you wouldn't want to have children. And the same with the eagle, like BBC program from Nano British Friends, very good friends of all the humanity, British nanoscientists. They will say the same thing about eagle, for example. So eagle would be United States. Also, it's all in the Old Testament, in Torah, in Talmud. For example, Archangel Michael is associated with, I think, with bear. And at some point, Archangel Michael left in times of Daniel the prophet. He left Israelis and he moved to be the guardian of Syrian people, Assur, I think. So if you belong to some kind of peoples, even Native Americans, they believe, some of the tribes believe that their totem animal is bear. Some believe it's an eagle. So if you are a boy, and you might not even remember it, you watch the program that an eagle throws out of the nest its own weakling cubs, or not cubs, chickens, baby birds. And if that is your totem animal, you're not going to have a family, because they essentially ruined the archetype of that animal. They will just tell you that they treat cruel their own children, but they will never show you the videos of it. Maybe it will be, if they show you, it will be some AI generated bullshit. But in the essence, because you don't realize it with your conscious mind, on subconscious level, your archetype is ruined, and the man is reluctant to create a family, and it's not connected to replacement of white person, and it's not connected with great replacement or anything like that. It's just that the totem of an animal is ruined, and no matter how much you even create good conditions for women to have children, for white women in Russia, for example, to have children, they will not do it because of the men who Russian men associate themselves with bears, and they don't want to have children because they are afraid of themselves as it relates to how they would be a father. So that's generally the problem. Also, all these disgusting people, like, you see this one here, Marx Lenin, who pretends to be Jewish. I don't think that he's Jewish. Please remember, people, also you won't hear this on any of these channels that are so-called providing you with psychological clues to anything like narcissistic abuse and all of that. You see, they are liars, and I don't believe that for a second that he's Jewish even. And remember that Israel has no friends. US is not friend of Israel because Israel has no friends. And so if Marx Lenin was to describe the future of the United States, if he cared about it, he would first think about not ruining relationship between Russia and the United States, because there are all these agents which are basically originate from Ukraine, who try to ruin their work as a bloggers, video bloggers. They try to ruin relationships between Russia and the United States. Look, Bret Weinstein, and here is Leon Weinstein. Both of these creatures are not Jewish. So this creature, Leon Weinstein, he works with Russian immigration community in the United States, and he basically explains to Russians, because he's Ukrainian from some hooker Ukrainian who at some point worked at some port, Odessa, for example, that mistakenly belonged to Ukraine, and at some point she sucked a dick of some admiral, and that was his mother, and they faked documents that they belong to Jewish community, and therefore they were suppressed in the USSR, which is Russia. And so he will explain to Russian-speaking community in the US how bad Russians are and how they work against the United States. All of this, by the way, is bullshit. And he is related to mafia, and his website will point you to the video and company that will help you to organize assistance into filing documents if you need them to get a green card or prolong your stay in the United States. This is essentially legalized protection money for the mafia. So neither Mark Lenin or anyone like that who are bashing Russians in almost every of their video will tell you that their surnames are fake and they are not really Jewish, like Weinstein. Stein is like an obelisk, and it's like in the realm of words, in linguistic realm, you create an obelisk, architectural monument, and you try to ground yourself and have some foundation to yourself, because they believe that Jewish words have some meaning to them and they have magic power. That's why they take up Jewish names. I believe that Marx Lenin is an agent of Lebanon, because Jewish people do not talk like that, and because he's disgusting. He's possessed by spirit of Hitler. He screams all the time, and Jewish people usually talk very quietly, and they tend to fake beef with each other on their networks. Why US should pay attention to Russia and why they should be friends? Because of the laws of karma. Uh, let's see. Uh, you owe your very existence to Russian people. Because Russian Queen and Russian Tsar back in the day, they sent a fleet, they sent aid, military aid for you to help you win your war for independence against blockade from Nano Britain and during civil war they also helped you. And this is you owe your very own existence to Russia and its SARS. And if you try to do anything against it, it will backfire on you tenfold. So all that you have now is basically a proxy war with China via Iran, is because you fucked up relationship with Russia, you see. And this, Leon Weinstein and this other Weinstein, they won't tell you that, this Brett Weinstein, they won't tell you how Ukrainian mafia operates in the US. Ukrainian mafia ruined cities like Chicago, etc., and ruined the industries because it's always corruption that they create. And basically, if you look around and why your cities are turned into shit, that you have Ukrainian mafia to blame. And that's nothing you will ever hear on Marx Lenin's channel. Again, he is crazy, he is aggressive, and he always screams. If you want to know about this Iran regime, they basically execute people in public, they stone women to death. For what? For drinking alcohol. For example, one woman wore her headscarf in an inappropriate way. A woman who was from Armenia or another woman from Afghanistan, they're not even citizens of Iran. One woman was a reporter who was Armenian. She wrote an article because she was a journalist, a reporter, and the government of Iran didn't like that article, so they publicly executed her. They hung her on a rope, and her Iranian friend, a woman, was holding her hand so that she wouldn't be afraid. And this other thing. This is an article from back 2020. A 16-year-old woman was executed in Iran. She was guilty in that she was raped. Now more about this barbaric government. Back in 2004, a woman was publicly executed in Iran. She was guilty that she was raped. At the age 13, Atife Sakhaleh was arrested because she dared to go in the taxi with a man without accompanying man. After she was released from prison, Atifa was raped by 51-year-old taxi driver when she was going home. Then she was again arrested due to anonymous letter. In the prison, she was subjected to torture, and the prosecutor and the judge was the same person. it was decided to execute her, and the highest court was to confirm it. Um, Usually it takes a long time, but this time this took 2 days. They didn't allow her to see her family. She was hung on a rope. After she was hung, her body was there for 40 minutes. So if you support this Iran regime, maybe the karma will bite you in the ass in the way that maybe your daughter will find her way to go to Iran and live under this regime herself. So I wanted to read up on some very interesting stuff. Because like I said to you, they torture me afterwards for this type of videos that I make. They have these psychics that work for them, for CIA, and they send to me these thoughts that are not my own, emotions that are not my own, which are suicidal thoughts and lust thoughts. So they have one operator, one man who works for CIA, as I imagine. He sits there and he tries to transfer feelings of lust to me, and the other one sitting there tries to transfer. He's looking at the photo of particular person, and they try to transfer to me into my head the image of a particular person they want me to feel lust for. And it looks, for me, when I have this perspective on things, it looks like my whole life was a lie and a setup, and my feelings are not my own. And what they sent to me, these last thoughts, suicide thoughts, how they try to punish me for doing something against them, it's just a method of torture, and it's all the black magic. It's not like something like talent they have on this CIA machine. And let me read up on some. Okay. Zoroastrians believe that earth, fire, and water are the all holy elements and thus do not pollute them by burying, burning, or placing their dead in water. Instead, they place their dead on a tower of silence, letting the vultures consume the corpses. In the middle of the tower is a pit known as Ostudan, where the remaining bones are placed after they are stripped of flesh. According to tradition dating back over 3,000 years, dead bodies were left on top of those open towers, which are also called dakhmas, to be slowly disengaged or picked apart by desert vultures. Under ancient Zoroastrian beliefs about the purity of the earth, dead bodies were not buried but left in these uncovered stone towers so that vultures would pick the bones clean. Narratives say that men's corpses were placed in the outer circle while women's were left in the middle and children in the innermost ring. Bodies were then left until their bones were bleached by the elements and stripped by the vultures. After the process of purification, bones were placed in ossuaries near or inside the towers. So I believe they use these towers for time traveling and all other dark arts, magic bullshit. And yeah, women in Iran until this day, they are dug into the ground halfway and then they're stoned to death. That's what's happening. And yeah, I wanted to read up this one. Raisi is a believer in gender segregation and Islamization of higher educational facility. He has established a repressive system, and he is the first in 20 years to execute death sentence for repeated alcoholic drinking. The new president in Iran have the kingdom of terror since 1980s, when he was prosecutor of Karaj in Hamadan in 1988, deputy prosecutor of Tehran, and commission of death in Evin. In any case, Raisi was executing people people were hung in packs in 6 people each time. As Abrahamyan writes, agony some victims have been enduring lasts up to 15 minutes. After first several days, those who were entrusted with execution demanded to be replaced and to have fire squads used instead of them. The requests were rejected, and because of so-called Sharia, and they were made to continue with the hanging, even though their hangers were exhausted, and they were asked the question, those who were convicts, Marxists, they were asked questions such as, with poisonous internal hidden meaning. When you grew up and your father prayed, was he fasting and was he reading the Holy Quran? Not everybody understood that if the answer is yes, then they are condemned to death sentence. So it's not really Islamic State. They practice this pagan religion, Zoroastrianism, and they need to keep killing people because they need this source material. They turn human bones into powder, and they make some material that contains phosphorus. It's some radioactive material, and they mix it with some poison from some animals, and that's how they get this radioactive fuel and time travel and ability to change whatever is destined to happen. So the same way, if you look back at the Jewish and Holocaust thing and how it was all organized, they, first of all, what they did was they hypnotized German people. What they did was there were no TVs back then, but there were those events where people gathered at arenas for Olympic Games and sporting events. And if you watch the music video by Rammstein, this is the German band, Let Me See You Stripped, these would be people where they were dressed, and it was like an ancient pagan Roman holidays. Although formerly, back in the 1930s, back in the 1920s, Germany was a Roman Catholic state. It was Christian state, formerly. And that's again the term Mystery Babylon. They practice something in secret, when on the outside it looks like Christian or Islamic, but on the inside it's pagan and it's blood rituals in its origin. And they are obsessed with the machine principle, and this all happened because of John the Baptist, and this was because he had some sort of chariot in him, with him. So as I see it, John the Baptist, who was also Elijah, and who was also Charlie Kirk, what he did, first he was Jewish, he was a prophet, so he followed certain religion, certain customs that made his brain be developed in a certain way. Okay, so his brain was formed from his father's sperm on the day of conception, and then they follow certain tradition, and John the Baptist and Prophet Elijah's fathers, they were priests, they were rabbis. So they have certain diet, they have certain practices when they pray. So your brain goes in a certain frequency, certain mode. When you pray, you concentrate on a higher vibration and a higher things. And when a person dies, in time, their brain also fossilizes, calcifies, it turns into hard material, if it what is not evaporating. And when John the Baptist was he was executed in a way that his head was separated from his body, and the woman who did that, who ordered to do this, she hid his head. Then his head was found, and in place of his head there was found a crystal. So there was a crystal where his brain used to be. So it took centuries, but his brain fossilized. And we had a clairvoyant boy in Siberia. His name was Otrok Vyacheslav Slava of Chebarkul. It's where meteorite hit in Siberia. So he was saying that these flying saucers, alien ships, they use diamond as fuel, and diamond they take from human brain. So if you remember the biography, John the Baptist was living in the desert, and he was eating basically bees honey, and he was also eating on these cicadas and those insects that fly and jump. I forgot, locusts, I think they are. So what they tried to do was, when Germany tried to have this technology of rockets flying, and specifically flying saucers. That's what they wanted to develop. And for this reason, they decided to slander Jews, because they needed Jewish brains. And for this reason, they put Jews in the camps. They blamed Jews for something, like this blood libel, like they drink blood of Christian blue-eyed children, and then they put their blood in the unleavened bread. And all of this was because they wanted to have this sky chariot that belonged to prophet Elijah, who was the same person as John the Baptist and Charlie Kirk. So they officially explained to German population that they were, killing and torturing, and the Jews were bad, and they hypnotized them in a way that they organized those Olympic Games events, these ball games events, and during that time they were dancers, like in the Rammstein video, Let Me See You Stripped. And these dancers, they represented the planets, the interaction between the planets, and German population were hypnotized in the way that Jewish Messiah would be the threat to their existence. So their survival mode, they're kicked in, and if they had this program, this belief system in their head, put in their head subliminally, where these dancers where Germans were faced with people who were dancing, and they represented some gymnastics, dancing, and the figures where they were acting as planets like Mercury, Venus, Saturn, etc. And the same thing happened in the end of 2012, which we know was Apocalypse, where they organized that Sandy Hooker event, where children represented all this in the scripture, and they represented the planets. So people were made to believe that birth of Messiah, conception of Messiah, which is Apocalypse, which is opening the gates of Milky Way, the heavens. This is our stellar star events, was somehow related to end of the world and their death, their collective death. And therefore, once again, people's survival mode kicked in, and in these Sandy Hooker events, where children also represented the planets, for example, this Emily Parker girl represented the moon, and so on and so forth, and the biblical archetypes. People were made to believe that the birth of Messiah is actually their death. So they would be emotionally very much against the Jewish Messiah, which is Emmanuel. Well, there are two Messiahs. And the same thing happened with Germans, and the same thing happened all over again with this Sandy Hooker event. So anyways, right now they are trying to attack Pete Hegseth, and I hope that American women will wake up to this, because Pete Hegseth is like a perfect man as I see it. He is very handsome, he has beautiful stature, his moves are that of bird of prey or a panther, and his speech is great. And I think that when American women look at him, they are supposed to just be proud and feel ecstatic and come in their panties, because you never have this man who has proper hair, proper looks, broad shoulders, who wears suit to his job, who has very quick wit, whose speech is fine, who has these cowskin boots on his feet. So remember, women who wear brown cowskin shoes are the best family men. Always look for this. And also, this CIA bullshit, they are trying to tie him into some corruption scheme that he misappropriates the funds of Pentagon. This is just total bullshit. CIA are losers who failed to kill Zelensky because he was making with his works for Vatican, and he tried assassination attempt on Trump, and they're trying to turn it into Iran thing. They give him Trump their own intelligence. They also set up Trump with this girls' school missile attack when they provided wrong coordinates to the military. This was CIA, I'm sure about this. They failed to organize assistance to Iranian people when they wanted to rebel against the regime. And in regards to the prophecies of Iran itself, they had these 4 elder men that live there, and the elders are spiritual people who live in remote villages up in the mountains, and there were 4 of them. And one of them is popular in Russia. His name was Salman. And there were 4 of them in Iran, and they live up to 500 years. But 2 of them, according to shaman, I heard they were killed already. Of course, not by CIA, they were killed by Iranian government. So we had this politician in Russia whose name was Zhirinovsky, and of course he visited that one of the elder men, and he wanted to know in regards to the prophecies. But you need to understand that the man told him what he considers was necessary to tell, and of course he wouldn't tell all the truth, but I could grab the bits and pieces of it. Basically, in regards to the United States, he said to this Zhirinovsky guy, again, this is how I see it. I watched multiple interviews about this elder man and about Zhirinovsky, what he said, in particular, the politician who spoke to him. And he basically said that the way I can summarize it as a puzzle, if I was to put the pieces of the puzzle together, because he didn't say the whole text. He was just saying here and there some things. He told him that Trump is the last president in the United States. If you don't elect Trump, there won't be new elections in the United States because there won't be United States any longer. So all you do now is undermine Trump and his reign, which you should prolong by all means possible. But because you CIA fucks are such losers and freaks, and because you are more busy with stalking me and torturing me with your agents, you don't get to live through this to know what will happen. And so won't your kids.